I am happy once again to be joined by Matt Probin, who is getting ready to fight Tim Dooling for Ring of Combat on September the 13th on UFC Fight Pass. Matt, how are you?
I'm great, Ryan. How are you?
I'm good, buddy. It's good to talk to you again. I'm excited you got this fight. I got to ask you first, right off the bat. I just got my first tattoo ever in life, and it took about 3 hours to get done. It's on my back, but I understand you just got one on your neck. It's pretty visible there. How bad did that hurt, and what's the significance behind this one?
So this one wasn't too bad, to be fair. I was expecting it to be a little bit worse than it was. But it wasn't too bad. Like I said, I've had worse. And the significance, honestly, mate, I've just been wanting to do it. I've been wanting to get my whole neck, my whole throat done for at least 10 years now. And I figured, I'm never gonna have an office job. It's not my cup of tea. I'm all in. I'm all in. I've got no choice now. That's it. I'm all in.
How many hours of tattoo work do you have on your body so far? Do you have an idea?
It's quite a bit. I've got all this. I've got my whole chest. I've got my whole sleeve. I've got pretty much the whole right side of my body. I've got my whole right leg done. So I've got quite a few. Yeah, but it's pretty addictive,
Yeah, they say once you get one that you're gonna need to get another one and another one. Is that true?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's it. You've broken the seal now. You're in.
So which body part hurt the most? Out of all your tattoos, which was the one that you're just like, oh my God, I can't wait for this to be over?
There's only one where I almost tapped, actually. Like, it was rough. And that was right on the back of my neck and the back of my brainstem, actually. And I guess I didn't realize, but I've got some scar tissue on my brainstem. So with the scar tissue, and that's where all your nerves are anyway. All your nerves are up through there. That was a rough one. I had a couple-hour piece, and it's just like a big black piece on the back there. And yeah, that was a fun one for sure. But we got it done, and it looks dope. So.
Yeah, well, very cool. Your tattoos look good, and it fits you. It fits your fighting style as well, which I'm excited to see you step back into the cage. I'd like to talk about your last fight. It was your Bellator debut. I'm sure the result maybe wasn't what you wanted. It was a split decision victory. Just tell me a little bit about that fight and maybe what you could have done differently to get a finish or get a unanimous decision win.
Yeah. So obviously. Look, I'm not gonna make excuses. I just didn't fight my fight for a couple of reasons, and I do have excuses. I tore my LCL in the first minute, the first takedown. He came in and my LCL was torn. Ended up having to do 4 or 5 months of physical therapy after that to get it right. So that definitely, that threw me off a little bit, but that's no excuse. You know what I mean? Like it didn't stop me. Also, I got super sick the week of the fight, like really sick. Like I had a throat infection, I had a fever. Actually, the fever helped me make weight for the fight. As I'm cutting weight, I just had this crazy fever. I couldn't sleep. It was so I was struggling. Fight week. I was struggling for that fight. But again, no excuses. I didn't really fight my fight. I wasn't as creative as I normally am. I didn't really have my fight IQ. My vision wasn't there. Normally my vision is always like spot on. I can always pick my shots and stuff, and my vision wasn't quite there. So on top of that, he's a good fighter too. You know what I mean? He did things right. He did things he did a pretty good job at trying to implement his game plan. He was a strong guy, obviously, and so yeah, I mean, I'd love to run that back sometime, just because I know I'm so much better than that. All respect to him, no disrespect, but I know that I'm a lot better than that. So, but apart from that, the experience was incredible. I loved it. Do you know, that's actually what woke me up a little bit. Like right before the fight, you know what I mean? I'm not feeling too good, but I get out there. I let Bellator pick my walkout song. I always let other people pick out my walkout song because it entertains me to see what people come up with, So I'm getting ready to go out. Highway to Danger Zone comes on. I'm buzzing. I'm like, this is a sick song. I come out to Highway to Danger Zone. I'm walking up. I get in the cage. I look down to the left, and there's Big John McCarthy and Mike Goldberg calling my fight. And I'm like, okay. All right, this is it. That woke me up. That just like that gave me a little burst of energy, and that was dope. It was really cool. The whole experience, I loved it. It was a good time.
Awesome. Now, what did they tell you? For the Bellator promotion, are you planning on going back and fighting for them again soon?
Yes, I am actually. I am hoping for actually October. So a pretty close turnaround. They're going to be back in the Mohegan Sun in October, and I know my management team is in talks with them about trying to find a fight. I was hoping to fight for this last one, August 24th, but people were pulling out and not wanting to fight me. So.
Well, hopefully you get on this next one. It's funny you mentioned your walkout song, because I was going to ask you about that. The last time I saw you fight in person was obviously here in Maine, NEF, which, thank you, Matt Peterson. I'm wearing the new shirt. But you came out to Heads Will Roll, and I had never heard that song before. It was actually really catchy, and I thought it made sense, for you as a fighter too, as such a great striker. Is there any songs in particular that maybe, like, when you make your UFC debut, you're like, okay, no, I'm picking this song? Or are you just going to let that trend continue where other people pick your music?
Yeah, you know what? I'm just letting it continue. For pretty much all my pro fights, I've let people just pick my music, and like I said, it's kind of entertaining to me. You know what I mean? And it's another thing that I don't have to think about. Another thing I don't have to worry about. I've always got songs that I like, and I'm always like, this would be dope. But I'm just gonna keep that tradition kind of going and just let people pick out my songs, and it's a lot of fun.
Give me one song that you think is like top of the line.
So, well, here's what happens, right? So when I'm in training camp, or if I'm cutting weight and stuff, like, normally, like, I'll come out, like, I'll be thinking about, like, these angry songs, and not angry, but you know what I mean, like some more hard songs, you know what I mean, like hard beats. And I really like a song called Kill Jill by Big Boy. And it's got a really dope, like, drop to it, and it's pretty hard and pretty aggressive. But then what happens is, once I make weight and it comes up to fight time, I'm happy. Like, I'm so fucking happy. You know what I mean? So I want to come out to, like, just something happy and chilled. So I'm always changing my mind. One day I'm like, all right, I'll come out to this, and the next day I'm like, all right, I'm gonna come out to Dolly Parton. Fuck it, like, I don't know. I'm all over the place.
Well, I'm sure you've heard this song before, but one song that gets me really hyped up when I'm working out or anything is a Metallica, For Whom the Bell Tolls. That would be a really good walkout song. If you haven't heard it, you should check it out.
Maybe I'll let you pick my next one.
Okay, all right. Let me know. I would love to be the guy to pick your next walkout song. That would be very cool. Okay, all right. I'm gonna hold you to it then.
Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, my next one, you get to pick it.
Okay, perfect. That just made my day, Matt. Thank you very much. There's not a whole lot I like more than watching a fighter as he's walking down to step inside the cage for battle than listening to a song that is getting him or her jacked up and ready to get in there. It really, I envision myself when I'm working out or doing whatever, in that position. So it's very cool. So thank you. We'll talk after the interview, and I'll have to think about a really good one.
Yeah, perfect. Good. Yep, you're up.
Well, let's talk about your training. You've been at Recon for a while now, but I also understand that you've been going down to Lausanne's as well. I mean, regardless of where you're at, you're just getting high-level training partners. So tell me a little bit about what this camp has been like.
Yeah, so my camp, I only took this fight, 3 weeks out from the actual fight, but I've been in camp for the last 3 months. Like, I've been on weight for 6 weeks. Okay, this is like, I've been struggling I've been trying to find a fight. I've been asking for everybody. I've been getting crickets, mate, just crickets, right? So I've been on weight for 6 weeks just in case something like this happened. Somebody dropped out and I needed to step up on short notice. Like, I would have been ready to step up on a day's notice, like anywhere with anyone. So I've been in shape, on weight this whole time, feeling great. And like I said, like you mentioned, I've got the best training partners. I really do. I'm at Recon. The wrestling program here is insane. We wrestle hard, at least 3 times a week. So I'm getting my wrestling and my high level grappling in. And obviously, I'm a striker first. So I'm getting real high level training competition. I'm training with Rob Font, one-on-one with him, at least 3 times a week. I'm going to Haverhill boxing with him and Calvin Cater too. I'm going to Lausanne's for sparring and just getting some round robins in with the monsters there, bumping shoulders with those guys. And Yeah, I'm fortunate. I'm really lucky. I'm really lucky that I'm able to be in those circles and train with these people, and just to have the team behind me that I have to push me to that next level. It's I really am. I'm fortunate, and I'm looking forward to showing everyone, what I'm capable of.
One guy that I recently spoke to and had on the show, he fights this Saturday up here at NEF 40, is Tom Pagliarulo. And he trains down there at Recon with Rob Font and Cater. And I'm sure you've gotten some rounds with him as well. You also spent time at Young's MMA, and I'm sure you know Jimmy Jackson very well. So that's a really interesting fight. It's for the amateur featherweight title. Without picking sides or anything, can you just kind of give me maybe what you expect stylistically from a fight with those two?
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. It's going to be a really good fight, actually. So I haven't really trained too much with Jimmy. Like I've just looked a couple of rounds here and there, just some drilling and stuff like that. And even with Tom, I actually sparred with him this past weekend, just one round, just moving around, and he's good, man. He's really good. He's a stud, and I know Jimmy is too. So, like you said, even if I wanted to, I don't know if I could pick that one. Yeah, it's just gonna. That's an interesting one. That really is. Yeah, stylistically, they're both slick, they're both skilled, and they're both going to be coming from bell to bell, and I haven't seen Jimmy in a while. I haven't trained with him in a while, so I don't really know where he's at, but training with Tom last weekend, he's in good shape and he's ready to go, so I'm sure it's going to be a great fight, another good fight for NEF.
I'm really looking forward to that fight. Another fight that's happening this weekend as well, but all the way in Abu Dhabi, is Khabib Nurmagomedov against Dustin Poirier for the UFC Lightweight Championship. I'm really excited for this fight, man. I mean, both of these guys are as elite as it gets. I just got to get a pick. Who do you think wins that one?
It's so hard to bet against Khabib. You know what I mean? Like, who else is what? He's 27-0. Yeah. And it's so hard to bet against Khabib. But if anyone has a chance, it's Poirier. He's a dog. You know what I mean? He's not gonna quit. He's gonna be in the fight the whole time, and he has some power. But judging how Khabib handled McGregor in that last fight, and with Poirier being another like similar southpaw boxer striker, I kind of see it going the same way. Now, personally, on a personal level, I like Khabib a lot. I think he's legit, and I think he's a good person too. But on a personal level, I'd love to see Poirier get the belt. You know what I mean? I like him a lot. I've been following him for years. I'm actually hoping to get down to ATT and train with him at some point. So yeah, I'd like to see him get the belt, but that's a big but. He's got Khabib in front of him, you know what I mean? And so yeah, I can't wait to see that card though. It's gonna be like what, 2:00, I think it starts, the main card.
The main card starts at 2, so about 4 Eastern time, you'll probably see Khabib and Dustin about that ish.
Yeah, I'll be tuning into that one for sure. It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I wanted to ask you too. This is something new that I want to start doing with interviews. Anyone that I have on the show, I'd like to get your Mount Rushmore of mixed martial artists. When you look at fighters, and you know what, it doesn't have to just be mixed martial artists. It can be combat sport fighters in general. So just anybody that has competed in combat sports, period. 4 fighters that you think are the best of all time that you would put on the Mount Rushmore if you had to choose.
That's a good one. That is a good one. All right. So I am going to blow your mind here with this first one. And I'm going to go with Colby Covington. Okay. Yeah, see, right? Yeah, no one expects that. He's become one of my favorite fighters, actually. Not so much as a person as the heel that he's playing, you know what I mean? I don't really play into that. Although I did listen to a pretty cool podcast recently with Brendan Schaub and Colby Covington, and basically Colby just admitting that it's all a show, you know what I mean? It's all a show. And from what I've heard too, from people, from friends at ATT, like I've heard that Colby is actually a decent guy, you know what I mean? But all that aside, this isn't, the nicest guy show, you know what I mean? Now we're fighting, we're gonna punch each other in the face, But Colby's brilliant. What he's been doing to people, what he did to Robbie Lawler, and what he's been like, I love it. I appreciate it. I love the pressure. I love the pressure and the pace. You know, like I've just become obsessed with that recently. So yeah, Colby's up there. Also, can't stand him as a person. Cringy, the king of cringe, Henry Cejudo, though.
You were gonna say that, yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Like he really blew my mind with that. His last fight. He had to. So he went from trying to play a game that just wasn't working, and he had to just fight. He had to just get in there, and then that little Mexican came out on him, and he just brought the fight to him. And against Moraes too, who's an absolute monster, one of the scariest guys in the division. You know what I mean? Like truly a scary guy. And he just made it a fist fight. He just made it a fight, and he beat him. And that surprised me. That really surprised me.
I got to ask you, Matt, real quick. When you hear Cejudo talk about wanting to fight, you know, Amanda Nunes or Valentina Shevchenko, like what crosses your mind? Because to me, that's where it's almost like, you know, you're taking it a little bit too far. You know, I think at that point in time, you just need to stop, kind of slow your roll back up a little bit and say, okay, I'm going to focus on fighting the male fighters in the divisions I want to compete in.
Yeah, I mean, he's a special guy, that's for sure. I can't really stand him when he talks and anything that he does, but as a fighter, like he's incredible. But yeah, talking about all that stuff is nonsense, you know, absolute nonsense. And but I think they're kind of playing into it a little bit too, you know what I mean? And it's just it's becoming a little bit too WWE for me, if I'm being honest. It's not really my cup of tea. But all that talking nonsense aside, you know what I mean? He can back it up when he fights.
Yeah.
So
two more. You got Cejudo and you got Colby Covington. Am I going to get my mind blown with 3 and 4?
Probably not. I don't know. Let's see. I haven't really put much thought into this. Okay, so Colby Covington, Cejudo, TJ Dillashaw. Apart from, you know what I mean, his legacy kind of being tarnished a little bit by those recent findings and stuff. You can't. He's still an absolute stud. He's still an absolute monster, and hopefully he's going to come back and he's going to show everyone what he's capable of. But I love his style. I love how he adapts. I love how he's like calm and vicious at the same time. Like he's another one up there. He's definitely one of my favorite fighters. All right, let me see. One more. Okay. Oh, this is a good one. Right. So, yeah, I blew your mind with Colby Covington and Cejudo. I know you weren't expecting that. I'd probably, you know what? Rob Font. There you go.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah, I love Rob Font. I love watching. I love breaking down his fights, and I love training with him, and I love watching him. He's brilliant. He really is. He's brilliant, and it's the little things that you don't really notice. You know what I mean? The things that I'm picking up with training from him, and yeah, he's like it's like a snake charmer. Like when you watch his fights back, he charms people into playing his game, you know, and it's brilliant. He's smooth. That's the best word of saying, like, that's the best way of describing Rob Font, is he is smooth. He's smooth and he's good, you know. So a great training partner for me, a good friend, you know. Yeah, I definitely have to put Rob Font up there too.
Yeah, very cool. Hopefully Rob gets a fight on this UFC Boston card coming up in October. We'll keep our fingers crossed for that. I do want to ask you, Matt, also, you know, when you make this progression as you're getting closer to fighting into the UFC, you look at all these other avenues of ways that you can get in there now. You know, there wasn't a Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series just a couple, you know, short years ago. Like that wasn't a thing that existed. You know, the Ultimate Fighter's been around for a while, but when you look at those two avenues as a way to get into the UFC, is there one that stands out to you more than the other that you really hope that's your road, or do you just want to fight your way in there and get a contract organically just through hard work?
100% that last bit, you know. I'm not trying to. I think for the most part, when you think too much into it, that's when you get these wet lettuces, I like to call them, that are trying to pick and choose the fights. They're trying to like pad their record. They're trying to They get the perfect record. They're trying to fight scrubs up until they get to the UFC. Here's what happens when you get with that, right? Here's what happens to those people. They might get to the UFC, okay? They might make it. But I guarantee you, they'll have the 4 fights in the UFC, and they won't be heard of ever again. No one will hear from them ever again. They'll have the 4 fights in the UFC, and that will be it. I'm going to work my way up there, right? I'm going to take the hard way. I always have. I've already had over 40 fights, you know what I mean? I've already earned this and paid for it, you know, in full, punch by punch, you know? And I'm going to continue to do so too. And I'm not trying to take the easy road, you know? But I guarantee you, when I do make it to the UFC or Bellator as a fully contracted fighter, I guarantee I will get multiple contracts, and I will be there for the long game. You know what I mean? And I will get fight of the night bonuses, and I will. So I see these other guys, and I see them, you know, padding these records and getting to the UFC, but I don't see them staying there. I don't see them lasting, and I don't see them having that kind of legacy, you know. And that's the way I think about it. So I'm fine, you know, doing the hard work, and however it happens. Like you said, organically. However it happens. Whether it's UFC, whether it's Bellator, whether it's ONE FC or PFL, whatever it might be. I just want the best fights. That's honestly it. I want the best fights. This is more of a personal journey. I know what I'm capable of, right? I know I can mix it up with the best in the world. I know I can put on some of the best fights in the world. I know I'm definitely fight of the night worthy for UFC, Bellator, ONE FC, PFL, whatever it might be. So I'm just going to keep proving it. That's it.
How many fights away do you think you are from getting that contract that you've always dreamed of?
Close. I'm close. I'm really close. So this fight I've got coming up September 13th, co-main event on UFC Fight Pass. This is pretty much like a number 1 contender fight. And, you know, when I show what I'm capable of, and with this type of fight in general, the guy I'm fighting, it's amazing. He comes to fight. You know what I mean? My last opponent was very different. You know what I mean? He came to wrestle. He came to hold on to me. And he came to survive, basically. Not this guy. This guy's coming to fight. He's going to be in my face from bell to bell, and we are going to be scrapping the whole time. It is guaranteed. Like, if you can bet on anything, bet on that being fight of the night coming up. So I'm really excited about the fight, about the opponent, and about my skill set in the fight. And I'm excited that I truly believe I'm gonna showcase what I'm capable of in this fight, and then we'll see what happens from here. I'm hoping for Bellator again in October, but if something comes up, you know what I mean. If a Dana White Contender Series fight comes up, if PFL comes up, or whatever may happen, I'm just rolling with it, you know.
Now your opponent, Tim Dooling, he's 7-5. 5 of his 7 victories are by way of finish, either knockout or submission. What is it that he does best in there, and where do you see the biggest holes in his game?
You know what? There isn't really many holes in his game, to be honest. And what he does best is he comes to fight, and he will just break people down. He will just stay in the face. He's very Diaz-y in a way. And what I mean by that is he's going to come in. He loves to box. He loves to scrap. He's going to keep walking forward. He's not going to disengage. And he doesn't have great wrestling, but when he gets taken down, he's slick off his back, and he's got some slick jiu-jitsu. So he's a pretty complete fighter, you know what I mean? If he starts touching you up on your feet, you take him down, you're going to be in trouble on the ground too. So I'm just pumped for it. Just the fact that he doesn't disengage, that he's not trying to survive, that he's trying to win the fight. Like, he's never out of the fight. And he has 5 losses, but he's fought studs, absolute monsters. Yeah. Like,
most recent, Matt Bissett.
Yeah, exactly. The last 3 guys he fought have been in the UFC, are either in the UFC right now or fought for the UFC. So yeah, and like his fight with Bissett went the distance, and it was a good battle. It was a good back and forth fight, you know. And Bissett's no joke; he's a monster.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's definitely better than his record shows, you know, at 7-5. And he's beat some of the top guys. Like, he's beat Dan Dubuque, who's ranked number 2 or 3 in New England. You know, he's beat these top guys. So it's gonna be a really interesting fight, and I think it's gonna be it's just gonna be a battle of wills, and I'm so excited for it. Honestly, this is the kind of fight that gets me pumped. I actually have all the respect in the world for him. Never met him before, never spoken to him, but I like him a lot because he is a fighter, you know what I mean? And that's surprisingly, listen, mate, we're in the fight game. We're in the fight business, right? And fighters are few and far between nowadays, okay? Like, so I respect him, you know what I mean? And like I said, before I even watched any of his fights, I looked at who he fought, and I was like, okay, this guy will accept a fight against me. Like, without hesitation, he said, yeah, I'll fight Matt Probin. And so I got to respect that, you know, and we're going to put on a hell of a show. Co-main event, UFC Fight Pass. It's going to be brilliant.
Matt, is this fight going the distance, or are you going to get your hand raised by way of submission or knockout before this fight finishes up?
Submission, definitely. No, just kidding. No, so I'm prepared. I'm prepared for it to go the distance because he is tough, right? He's really tough. He's really durable. He's only ever been finished once, and that was against Bill Algeo, who I believe was actually like the #1 ranked guy in like New England or even like the Northeast at that point when he fought him too. And that was a questionable stoppage. I didn't think it, you know, I think it was like an early stoppage, to be honest. Because he was still in it. He wasn't hurt. He wasn't rocked. He wasn't knocked out. He was just like covering up. Maybe just covered up a little bit too long. That's all. So in my opinion, he's never been finished. So I can't plan for that. You know, I'm always planning for just a fight from bell to bell. Now though, when you look at my record, and not just my MMA record, so if you look at my Pro Thai record, 4-0, 4 knockouts, 4-0 in Muay Thai, 3 knockouts. Okay, so I have like a 90% knockout rate. Okay, so when you look at it that way, there's a good chance, you know, of me finishing this fight. So I'm just gonna go in there. I'm just gonna have fun too. Like, here's the thing: whenever I go in and I force the knockout and I force the fight, you know what I mean? It doesn't happen. It doesn't play out. So when I go out there and I'm just having some fun, and you know, I'm really just enjoying it. You know, he hits me, I hit him, and we just get into a good fucking fight, and then we're just having some fun. That's when the magic happens. So if you see me out there smiling, moving, having some fun, just don't blink, because anything could happen.
Well, Matt, obviously you were very excited for this fight, and rightfully so. I'm very happy for you that you got it. And again, anyone that's out there watching, make sure you get your UFC Fight Pass subscription now. And if you don't do that, get tickets and go down to Atlantic City to watch this fight, because it's going to be a good one. Matt, it's always a pleasure to talk with you, buddy. Before I let you go, anyone you want to thank or any social media you want to plug, the floor is yours.
Appreciate that, mate. Thank you very much. First off, I want to thank you. Thank you for the platform. Thanks for the interview. I really do appreciate it. You do a lot for the fighters, and I know we all appreciate it. Second of all, my team. You know, my team's always going to come first. You know, I am only a product of them at the end of the day, and I only take credit for my mistakes. So my team is there for me all the way. You know, they really are. So I definitely have to thank everyone here at Recon MMA, my head coach, John Dupree, you know, Darren Elder, Eric Wood, everyone here at the gym for sure. And then all the sponsors that have been helping me out, you know, they know who they are. I'm going to thank them all, you know, separately on social media, but all my sponsors that are there for me, it helps a lot. You know what I mean? It's not easy. It's not easy sometimes doing this. It's not as lucrative as people may think. And put it this way, like the New Jersey Athletic Commission, like the medicals for this one have been a pain in the ass. I've spent $600 just on medicals already. You know what I mean? Like that's coming out of my pocket. So thankfully, sponsors have been stepping up and helping out with that, and it really means a lot. On top of that, I'm getting my own flights over to New Jersey and stuff. So I'm going out of pocket, you know, almost $1,000 just to fight, you know. So thankfully, you know, sponsors have really been helping out. So it means a lot to me. I'm just fortunate just to have an incredible support system around me. And yeah, I couldn't be more pleased, and just looking forward to the future. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. That's it.
Yeah, well, I trust in you 1,000%. You got a lot of people up here in Maine that are supporting you as your MMA journey unfolds. So, Matt, best of luck. Stay healthy. Get to the 13th and get in there and get that W. And we'll talk again soon, buddy.
I appreciate it, Ryan. Thank you so much.